Good morning, Trade Geeks. It's Friday. TGIF, everybody. Today's September 12th, 2025. And today's topic is the USMCA preparation or prelude to renegotiation. So, there's a trade bloc or a trade agreement between the US, Mexico, and Canada that is going to be renegotiated here, or comes at least up for review in the middle or May of 2026. So I think we're seeing some preparation, and notably, the big headline for trade this week is Mexico is proposing to increase their tariffs on 1,371 items from 10 to 50%. And it seems like it's mainly focused on the Chinese goods. There's been a huge interdependence between the U.S. and Mexico. I think mainly it was really highlighted by the pandemic here of late. I think when the pandemic kicked in, there was a need for companies to recruit labor. Everybody was at home. So we saw a huge exodus of companies moving to Mexico to look at cheaper production, right? So we've had this trade dependency between the U.S. and Mexico now. I think it's, since the 80s. I think it was pretty much escalated by the NAFTA in 1994, right? And then COVID here, as I mentioned, really escalated things. So this trade dependency is really important. I think that Mexico is now the U.S.'s largest trading partner, right? And also a lot of American or U.S. companies, including European companies, have made significant investments into Mexico, mainly for production purposes. So there is some interdependence between the U.S. market, the U.S. and Mexico. Also, there's the remittances. I think somebody threw some numbers of $30 billion in remittances that goes to Mexico from people working in the U.S. that send money back to Mexico to their families. China sent a message to Mexico telling them they really needed to rethink their strategy about increasing the tariffs on goods that are going to be imported into Mexico that are non-USMCA. So as I mentioned, those 1,371 tariff items that Mexico is looking at increasing the tariffs, they're looking at putting a 50% tariff on Chinese goods. So of course, China doesn't like that. So if we look at the Mexico and Chinese trade relationship, right now in the first half of 2025, they're breaking records. For every $13 that China sends in goods to Mexico, which mainly consists of all these electric vehicles that we're seeing running around, a lot of the manufactured goods, Mexico only sends $1, and it's basically copper. So you could see there's a huge imbalance. And in 2024, just so you guys know, China exported roughly $130 billion worth of goods to Mexico, and Mexico only exported $10 billion worth of goods to China. So there is a huge trade imbalance, and I think that's kind of a part of the motivating factor. Mexico has been reforming their government, which is going to, I think, put the relationship between the U.S. and Mexico, at least from an economic standpoint, on fragile footing. As I mentioned, companies have been moving like crazy into Mexico, investing into Mexico and using their labor there to their advantage as much as they can. But at the same time, Mexico has been implementing some reforms. Their reforms started with reforming their energy sector, with AMLO when he came into power there. And then now the reforms continue with AMLO, now with Sheinbaum, as they're reforming their labor laws. Now their labor laws are getting stricter, tougher, more expensive. And also now with these increase in the tariffs that they're talking about in Mexico, if Mexico were to implement this 50% tariff on Chinese goods, it would significantly impact the cost of doing business in Mexico. So I think right now Mexico does have the program called PROSEC, which is a sectorial program that gives companies the benefit of paying a very low tariff rate mostly 0% on goods that they're importing into Mexico. So that program, if that program is eliminated, then now we're really talking about a huge dynamic shift here in what's going to be happening with trade between the countries. So everybody, we got to keep a good lookout to see what's going to happen here. The Mexican Congress is going to be voting on this here very, very soon. We'll see how it turns out. Anyway, everybody have a great weekend and enjoy yourselves. And thank you very much for following us. And don't forget to follow us at www.trade-flex.com and take advantage of TradeFlex regulatory intelligence. Thank you. Bye-bye.